About consumption of coffee in Denmark.
Yeah.
It's the happiest country in the world, as I know. Maybe one of them.
They rank between. I think Finland may often beat it, but yes, Finland, Norway, Denmark, they have very high levels of coffee consumption.
Yeah. Why? They're happy.
It's dark.
Why they're happy?
Why are they? Well, I don't know if there's necessarily a relationship between this. Possibly, I would say that whilst the percentage of people that consume coffee, also the volume of coffee that each person consumes is high, the quality of average consumption is low. So it's hard to build any positive correlations from this.
How many cups do you drink a day?
I would say 2 to 3. I would say in Denmark...
It's healthy amount.
Yeah. I would say in Denmark the average would be 3 to 4. Many coffee businesses will have filter coffee in their office as standard.
How you do this? It's hard to teach them how to brew it properly.
There's a question as to whether or not they are brewing it properly, but that's an entirely different thing. I would say that it's a culture that is very well suited to filter coffee, to the point that if you go to a Danish coffee shop and you ask for regular coffee, you will receive filter coffee. That is their definition of coffee. Americano is an entirely different thing. Espresso culture is also very different, but I think it goes way beyond my understanding of Danish and even Scandinavian culture. It's something that has been embedded in the culture ever, like post-war. It's just, very close to the hearts of Danish people. And I would say that many people in the country, they believe that they drink high quality coffee, and there's a pride that comes with this. So it's very common that people will buy whole bean coffee in the supermarket and grind it, even if that whole bean coffee is still a Robusta that was roasted to second crack. There's still, a ritual in brewing a coffee and drinking a coffee that maybe other cultures don't have in regards to consumption. It doesn't necessarily mean that the end product is high quality, so.
About supermarkets, do you have local roasters represented in supermarkets?
Yes and no. They are beginning to be represented more, but in a very small scale.
Because contracts.
They need to have minimum order quantities. The problem is that it's a sliding scale that when a small producer then enters a contract with the supermarket, they need to have a coffee of a volume that's large enough to satisfy that demand.
There is no stability in such volumes.
No. So that's why it's very difficult for us, for example. Our lot sizes just wouldn't make sense. Our margin structure also wouldn't make sense, which is why you don't find us in supermarkets. But the other thing would be that you need to be ready then to compromise on various other qualifying factors. The most important being shelf life. So the minimum shelf life that a supermarket will accept for even a specialty coffee would be 6 months. And I think very few of us... Nitrogen flushing could help. But in many cases, the sales of a whole bean coffee in the supermarket would still be quite low. People would look for, not in Denmark, in the UK where I'm from, yes, instant coffee is still huge, unbelievably. In Denmark, I would say there's more understanding now for capsule format.
Have you tried specialty coffee?
Instant coffee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ukrainian?
Not Ukrainian. I tried from Voila, from Sudden. Recently I tried Finca Deborah as an instant coffee. And you can taste that it's geisha. You can taste the process. I would say that the roast degree was higher than I am used to. The problem that I have is texture and mouthfeel. So often I find...
I'll bring you now.
Okay, I would be curious to taste because I find that even when you follow the instruction for solubility, I still feel...
Mouthfeel,
Yeah.
instant.
And slight
Dryness.
graininess, yeah, exactly. That to me is not very pleasant. Almost like, you know, we call it in Denmark koopkaffe, when you produce coffee in a huge pot, almost like a cupping, and then you pour it out of here and you maybe have a small amount of sediment. To me, there's a similar tactile.
About future of coffee, maybe. You have capsules on site.
We do, yeah.
But what about drip coffee?
We also like a drip pack coffee.
Drip bag?
Yeah, we do. We produce that also. For me, drip packs are a better medium for coffee flavor than capsules and instant coffee.
Will
But
it
they
be the
are...
future?
Sorry?
Will it be the future of coffee? Maybe in supermarkets you can
Possibly,
sell it.
yeah, because you can it's way easier to instruct someone on how to create the end product. The problem is material. Right now,
Regulations?
Sorry?
Regulations?
No, I would say more morality and ethics.
Too much packaging?
Yeah, we produce them, so I'm not going to say that I can't vilify them too much. Many people here have actually asked me if I have them with me because they really like them as a product. And I think it's really cool that I can, for example, say to Lulia, here is a coffee, all you need to do is pour 150 grams of water within 30 seconds and you will have the same result as I would have. But the cost behind that is producing it requires a third party. We do not have the material to produce them. They need to be sealed completely. So you need to be able to have some kind of nitrogen flush sealer. Usually the outside of the packet there is then like foil wrapped plastic, and the inside is often not a natural paper source. It contains plastics. So we're a long way from having a compostable version of this product that would be oxygen free. If that product can be produced in a compostable or recyclable way that can still remain without oxidation, then I believe the scope is huge. Until that point, it's really hard to recommend it as a medium over other things. So the 75-degree temperature to 200. Okay, I'll use a server. It's much finer than I've seen previously, actually.
They made samples with granules. Now it's
With
like powder.
a fine powder, yeah. Because it's better for the solution and with water.
Maybe, I don't know. We have producer here. He can talk about technology a little. As I know, they use higher extraction in order to make instant coffee.
There's no visual particles.
Yeah, it's like coffee,
Yeah.
like filter coffee. What it tastes like?
I mean, it definitely tastes like coffee. I can take this one with me. I mean, the tactile is definitely better. So I think having the powder instead of the granule is favorable. But I would say there's still flavor
Recognizable.
recognizable, but flavor also from roast development. So I would question if that's because to make more soluble for the freeze-dry solution. Like some of the other things we discussed, there is potential if the market responds positively enough to enable the development to get there within a certain amount of time. Because I would be really curious to taste with different roast degrees. But when you have such a large production scale, it's so difficult to create any form of...
Not every coffee fits
in this structure.
Instant coffee.
Yeah.
So they choose especially for
In a
instant.
certain way, yeah.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting, and I think it's something that we will see more and more of. I also find it interesting that, for example, I said I've tasted now even Finca Deborah in this format, and if you can place, very high-level geishas in a format like this, and it be popular, then that will help to accelerate the.
Because brewing geisha is scary.
Very much, yeah. So if someone can give you something which is just there and ready, then I think there's definitely a benefit. Yeah.